Hi, my name is Courtney Sloan, and my book talk is on the book The Boxcar Children. And there are tons of different Boxcar Children books, and each one is about a different story that these children that lost their parents get into because they at first were homeless and living in a train, and then their grandfather came and found them and took them in, and now their stories about what they do with their grandfather and what kind of adventures they go on. So the one that I read was The Boxcar Children, The Hurricane Mystery, and all the Boxcar Children books are from Gertrude Chandler Warner, and there are many books. This one is number 54, and as a child I read a lot of them, and I use them now as an adult for different things like this. They always intrigued me because they were always about something they got into, kind of like the Scooby-Doo movies where they like solve mysteries. It's kind of like that. So, like I said, this is The Boxcar Children, The Hurricane Mystery, and it's by Gertrude Warner. And the summary is these children and their grandfather went over to Staten Island because there was a huge hurricane that just happened, and one of the grandfather's friends lived on this island and needed help repairing their house. So as they get to the island and talk to this woman, she said that one of the main things that were lost in the hurricane was this gate. And this gate meant a lot to her. It was a meaningful thing to the family. So the children took it upon themselves to find out the mystery of where this gate went. The woman actually assumed that it just went into the ocean and sunk, and it was gone forever. But the Boxcar Children wanted to figure it out. So as the story progresses, they go on this search for this missing gate. And I found page 19 of this book to be like the catcher of the book that grabs your attention and you want to know what happens. And it says, "We don't want to damage this any more than the hurricane has." "Don't worry, Jackie. I won't drop it," panted the taller of the women. She was wearing jeans and work boots that were also muddy. Her brown hair was pulled back into a ponytail with a bandana. She had freckles sprinkled across her sunburned nose. "When I say go, lift the gate into the back of my van," said the first woman. "Ready, set, go." The two women lifted the gate in the air and set it down gently on an old blanket. The shorter woman closed the van. "Thanks, Diana," she said. "I appreciate your help." She took the keys from her pocket and walked quickly towards the driver's side. The elders exchanged glances. What was this woman going to do with Mrs. Ashley's gate? "Stop!" shouted Henry. "That's the pirate's gate. It doesn't belong to you." And that's the end of one of the first chapters. And it leaves you wondering what's going to happen. Were these women stealing this gate? Or were they helping? Or did they just find it in their yard and wanted to clean it up? So I thought that was such a good engager for children. And it's towards the beginning of the book, so they only have to read like the first chapter to get into this book and want to know even more. The Boxcar Children, the grade level equivalent is 3.6. The genre is mystery. It could also be a picture book because there are pictures in every chapter. And it can fit into a lot of different genres. But I thought mystery was obviously the right one because it's called The Hurricane Mystery. And the interest level is grades 3 through 5. I liked this book because it kept my interest, and it gave a lot of insight of what was going on, and you could also capture each character. There are 4 different children, and each child, there's a piece that they figure out about this hurricane mystery. So you can relate to one of the 4 pretty easily. And the book is 118 pages, which isn't too bad for a young reader. And like I said, there are pictures as well in each chapter, a couple pictures on each chapter. And I think the pictures really help the reader to understand what's going on. Like, I'm a visual learner, so as I'm reading and I see these pictures, I can visualize exactly what the author is portraying. So I thought that was really good. Some of the extensions that you could do in a classroom is either during the reading or after the reading. During the reading, you could ask children to tell in their own words what they think is going to happen to this missing gate, and they can make up their own story before they finish it and before the ending to find out what happens. You could also have the children in the classroom come up with their own mystery that they have to solve, and they could come into groups and they could all come up with something that another group has to figure out the mystery too. So kind of like a scavenger hunt in a way, where they have to go to certain places and find clues. So that would get them active and moving around and interacting with one another. So I would use this book in many ways. You could also ask them questions like, have you ever lost something and had to retrace your steps and find out where it was? Or did you ever help somebody find their missing such and such? There's so many different ideas that you could do with this. And like I said, there's tons of extension books out there. I'm not 100% sure how many there are, but I mean, like I said, this is number 54. And they all tie together with different stories, and I liked it because the genre, it started with number 1. I remember reading a few of them as a kid, but number 1 was about like what happened to them and how they were founded by their grandfather. But as each one continues, it's more and more interesting, and you get to know more and more about the character. So each book builds off of this character. So that's why I would use this as a book talk in my classroom, or even as a book to extend. And like I said, I would use it probably 3rd to 4th grade would probably be where I would go. 5th graders could obviously do it on their own and come up with things. So thank you.